everyone, it's CL. So for this video, since the new year is soon approaching, I thought it would be a great idea to reflect back on this past year. I'm going to answer a few questions to reflect back on the year, kind of to reminisce and put it all to bed, because we're soon going to be in the year 2022. The year 2022 sounds so futuristic, doesn't it? As far as the first question, what am I most proud of? When I reflect back on the year, there were a lot of moments where I was very overwhelmed, and I had those moments where I just didn't think I could do it. Just like moments of the year where things just piled up and it felt like there was a million things to do and it was all due tomorrow. I had to make appointments, I had to fill out time-sensitive paperwork, I had to work and work overtime because stuff was happening at work. There was school meetings, school stuff I needed to attend. Like, it was just so overwhelming, where I really would have those moments where I would just shed a few tears that I was not capable to do all the things that were required of me. But now that I'm reflecting back on those times, that's one thing that I'm proud of, is that I did it. I was able to overcome, I was able to get everything that I needed to do done. So I guess that's what I'm most proud of, is that this year there were a lot of obstacles that felt very big, and I was able to overcome those, and that was a really good feeling, and kind of reiterated that I am more capable than I give myself credit. So next question is, what disappointed you the most this year? So what disappointed me the most this year is that I failed an exam. So as far as my skill set, I feel like I have very strong administrative skills, because all the jobs I've had are on the administrative side. My technical skill set is very, very poor, and I've been trying to study and kind of build up my technical skill set, and part of that was to take this exam. So I attempted the CompTIA Security Plus 501 exam, and I studied so much. I had two books, one this size and one this size and a half, and I studied like and I did practice tests, and the hard part for me is that I am a very visual, hands-on learner. So when it came to this exam, I was essentially just reading and retaining. So the Security Plus exam is one of those exams, like, for some people will be easy, especially if you already have some sort of technical background. And for some people, the exam will just be harder, feel harder, and you won't pass the first time, and that is the boat that I'm in. So for this exam, it was the first time I've ever taken a proctored exam. That is when, like, someone is watching you over the computer as you're taking your exam. So on exam day, I'm sitting in front of my computer, taking the exam, answering the question. Like 5 to 10 minutes into the exam, a box pops up on my screen. I guess it's the proctor, and they said, move back into the frame of the camera or I'm gonna end your exam. And then that startled me, because it was my first proctored exam. I didn't realize I was like leaning forward. So I like to get closer to my computer screen so I could see things better. So I didn't know that I was leaning forward to where I was partially not in the frame of the camera all the way. And I get this pop-up, and then getting the pop-up message that the proctor was threatening to end my exam kind of shook me. So I started like sit back. I tried to make that I had good posture. I kept checking my view on the camera to make sure that I was in frame. So there's like all of this extra stuff that I'm worrying about while I'm taking this exam. And in the end, I didn't pass. Like, I almost passed, but in the end I didn't pass, and I didn't get that certificate. So that was really disappointing to me, because I felt like I studied really hard, and I really got down on myself, because I know that I don't have a lot of technical skills, and failing my exam was just proof of that. So I was very disappointed in myself. But I am currently studying to take the exam again. Now the problem is that I took the Security Plus 501 exam. That exam has now expired and is now the 601 exam, which means it's even more information, more things to retain, more things to study. So now, don't be surprised if I fail it a second time. I'm just so not good at reading and retaining. I can read multiple books cover to cover and remember what I read, but if there's any nuance to the question, if there's anything that's worded differently from what I studied, then my confidence in answering that question is just shattered. So hopefully next year I will pass the exam, but that's something that I'll be working on. Next question is, what was the happiest moment this year? So for myself, when I think back to all the happy moments this year, it's never one moment. It's just like a collection of moments. So a lot of times, especially when you're an adult with responsibilities, a lot of days are rinse and repeat. It's kind of like the same pattern of day. You go to work, you come home, you make lunch, you do school drop off and pick up. Like, it's very rinse and repeat week after week after week, just because that's the routine. So for me, when I think back on the funnest moments this year, it's all these small moments that add up to big things. So a handful of times this year, there were weekends where there were no responsibilities and we could sleep in and we can just essentially do whatever we wanted to on the weekend. And one of the things my daughter and I like to do is we would watch animes on Crunchyroll. I remember we found a couple animes that were really good that we would watch together. But we're the type of watchers where we're not silent. We just don't silently watch. We like talk back at the TV and we call out when characters are being dumb and we just laugh and we troll and it's just fun, like having fun in that moment. So this year we also watched Squid Games together, which is a total phenomenon this year. I just kind of love those moments where we're having family time and there's like a specific point of the day that we're looking forward to. Like when we were watching Squid Games, we would watch one episode every night at like 8 p.m. and that was like our routine. So we had this routine of like family time every night at 8 p.m. And other than those times, just having those moments where you're just laughing really hard, you're dancing in the kitchen. So all those small moments added up into a lot of fun times this year. All right. Next question is the scariest thing that's happened to me this year. Okay, so So the scariest thing that happened to me this year is gonna have to have some context. So I've mentioned this in previous videos that I come from a family of sleepwalkers. It's mostly when we're little and then as we grow up, we grow out of it and it just turns into like sleep talking. So that is how I understood this sleepwalking phenomenon that is in my family. This year I experienced something I've never experienced before, and that is sleep texting. I am legit texting and typing in my sleep, and it horrifies me because I have no recollection of this happening. And keep in mind, on my phone, in my contacts, not only is it family members, it's also coworkers, it's also my boss. So how I realized I was doing this is because when I fall asleep, like I'm the type of person that I like to have the TV on at all times because it's like white noise to me. I like to have that noise in the background. And when I fall asleep, I like to fall asleep to watching YouTube videos. Like I'll either put on a very long playlist or a very long video, or I'll jump in a live stream where the streamer tends to stream for a few hours. So I either fall asleep to like long YouTube videos or long Twitch streams. But one day I woke up and I looked at my phone, and when I unlocked it, YouTube was like the first thing that was still open. And when I looked at it, in the comments section was my account, and the comment was so bizarre. And what kind of scared me is that whatever I was texting, it didn't make sense, but it also made sense. Like when I think of like texting in your sleep, I would imagine that you'd be texting gibberish, like, oh, you pick up your phone and you're just pushing letters and it's just a bunch of random letters that make no sense. No, that is not the case, which makes it even scarier for me, because not only did I type in complete sentences, I had decent punctuation where I use like capitalization, I use periods, but I use a full sentence, but the only thing is that those sentences together made no sense whatsoever. I could be talking about like, don't forget to take Anna to school because of the car wash at the park later today, and also the box of Cheerios. Like I wrote in complete sentences, but the sentences together didn't really have any meaning, but the sentences together made no sense. So that kind of scared me, because like, now what is happening in my sleep to where I'm texting and I don't realize it? So essentially it's whatever I have open. So if I fall asleep to YouTube videos, the next day I see that I tried to leave some bizarre comment that made no sense because I was asleep when I typed it. So as far as my sleep texting, I don't know if I was stressed out or something, or if something was going on in that period of my life. It was one period of time, but it spanned a couple months. I think it has stopped, but I don't really know. I don't know if it really stopped or if I just don't realize that I'm doing it. And honestly, I think I stopped doing it, and thankfully there have been times where I've tried to comment on someone's video and in my sleep I didn't click send, thankfully, and it was just when I woke up the next day, it was just like this filled out comment, but it wasn't sent, thankfully. Like the video would be like, watch me cook, and then I'm commenting some bizarre weird stuff. It's embarrassing, it's scary, I don't like it. But now I'm starting to question, what if I'm still sleepwalking in general and I just don't realize it? Because I essentially live by myself. I mean, I live with my kid, but she's in her own room. She's dead asleep. What if I'm sleepwalking and I don't realize it? That's a little bit scary to me, only because some people in my family, I have not done this myself, but some people in my family, when they sleepwalk, they leave the house and they end up like on the front yard. So I hope I'm not full on sleepwalking again, because that would be very, very scary and just something that I do not want to happen. But all in all, if I had to rate this year 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, I think I would give it a rating of 7. So that is essentially my video for today, just reflecting back on this year so we can close it out and prepare for the new year. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.